headlines of this hour on VTV News. We'll listen to international friends' comments on the party chief's latest article. And how agricultural sector urge to continue role in economic growth. And in our world news, UN chief taps panel to probe UNRWA after Israeli allegations.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. Now, to mark the 94th founding anniversary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, or CPV, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng published an article entitled "Proud and Confident Under the Party's Glorious Flag," determined to build a more prosperous, powerful, civilized, and heroic Vietnam with a fine and long-lasting culture. As an important article in the context of the party and people continuing to implement the resolution of the 13th Party Congress, it has attracted special attention from international friends.
In his article, General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trong stressed the need to prioritize the building of concerted development institutions, ensuring harmony between steadfastness and innovation, inheritance and development. Professor Valeria Vershanina of the Moscow State Institute of International Relations assessed that this motto plays an important role in strengthening the people's solid trust in the party's leadership.
This introduction of these two approaches indicates that the human are in the center. What is importantly, they are human-focused, human-oriented, which is also a very important motion in today's circumstances.
The people-centered approach is mentioned many times in the Party General Secretary's article. Having lived in Vietnam for more than 10 years, American journalist Amiat Horowitz believes that the Vietnamese people can successfully achieve the country's development goals under the party's leadership.
So since the 13th National Congress, the party has adopted the position of the people at the center. This is one of the great initiatives by the last Congress because it makes sure that all aspects of the country, whether it's the economy, whether it's the foreign policy, whether it's even the military, everything serves the needs of the people. It always sticks to its own path and serves the goals of Vietnam and the Vietnamese people. The global situation does fluctuate and it's difficult, but the government and the party make the adjustments as needed. And we see that even during the height of the COVID crisis, when the world economies were in crisis, Vietnam still managed to prosper.
In the article, the Party General Secretary emphasized the need to build and rectify the party and political system to be truly robust. His insightful ideas in anti-corruption work have made a strong impression on foreign reporters working in Vietnam.
As a reporter, I regularly watch the news about Vietnam, and I can see that Vietnam's anti-corruption work is thorough and consistent. In 2023, Vietnam prosecuted more than 730 new cases, with over 2,100 defendants accused of corruption. I think it's not easy to expose the negative side like that. It also demonstrates the will of the party and the state of Vietnam to handle corruption cases in a comprehensive and strict manner.
General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trong's article not only aroused the people's pride and trust in the party's leadership and the bright future of the nation, but also provided important perspectives for international friends about Vietnam's development path, contributing to enhancing the country's reputation in the international arena.
The Nội Bài International Airport in the capital Hanoi and the Tân Sơn Nhất International Airport in Ho Chi Minh City are piloting an automatic electronic toll collection, or ETC system, from February 6 to March 7, 2024. All vehicles with an ETC payment account can pay fees at these airports without producing a tag or completing any procedures. The fees are maintained at the same level as the non-ETC system. The Airports Corporation of Vietnam said it will continue diversifying service payment at airport entrance and exit areas, such as international payment cards, QR codes, and e-wallets. As the Tet holidays inch ever closer, import-export, custom clearance, and immigration activities are also becoming busier. In Lạng, the number of passengers going through customs and vehicles carrying import-export goods through border gates has doubled or even tripled compared to other periods of the year. At Hữu Nghị International Border Gate alone, about 4,000 visitors have recently gone through immigration procedures daily. Meanwhile, in Quảng Ninh Province, Móng Cái International Border Gate reports a sharp increase in the number of people entering and exiting. By the end of January, the number of visitors passing through the Bắc Luân 1 and Bắc Luân 2 bridge area was more than 500,000 people. According to experts, 2023 was a year of innovative thinking and growth model transformation in agriculture. The total export turnover of agriculture, forestry, and fisheries maintained a buoyant level, exceeding 53 billion US dollars, with the highest trade surplus over at 12 billion US dollars, an increase of more than 43%. This is considered a positive growth rate and a significant kickstart for the whole year sectors.
After a gloomy year, seafood exports reached 730 million US dollars in January. It is an increase of more than 60% over the same period, with a notable increase in the trade of key products, including crawfish and shrimps. Many markets have shown increasing demand.
Inventories in major markets such as China, the EU, and the US will be depleted in the first half of the year. From the second quarter, export prices will gradually recover, and the export of seafood products will certainly bounce back.
Vietnamese rice exporters have gained access to many major markets. The prices are still high. South Korea has granted Vietnamese exporters a trading quota of more than 55,000 tons of rice. 7 Vietnamese businesses won a bid to supply 300,000 tons of rice to the Indonesian market. This accounts for nearly half of the imported rice in Indonesia this year.
Indonesia does not have many quality rice varieties. Vietnam needs to improve the quality of exported rice. It is also necessary to pay attention to promoting other rice products, such as dried vermicelli and rice paper rolls.
Along with maintaining traditional markets, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development also aims at gaining access to the Middle East and Africa.
Trade promotion is still a crucial marketing method. All businesses must move towards a green and circular economy and reduce emissions according to global trends.
Experts believe the sector should improve supply and demand forecasting and market information, connect producers with consumers, and ensure they benefit from free trade agreements to restructure the export market.
In previous years, the Lunar New Year was the prime time for individuals to withdraw cash from ATMs in readiness for Tet celebrations. However, several cash withdrawal points in Hanoi have notably low ATM usage this year. Many people have forsaken the tradition of withdrawing cash during Tet, favoring the increasing popularity and convenience of cashless payment methods.
According to NAPA's records, in January 2024, the number of money transfer transactions increased by 5% compared to December 2023 and surged by 58% over the same period last year. Conversely, cash withdrawal transactions via ATMs in January 2024 decreased by 28% compared to the previous year. These figures indicate a declining trend in people's reliance on cash withdrawal. Numerous banks have reported a substantial decrease in customers' cash withdrawal transactions at ATMs and transaction counters compared to previous years.
The number of customers withdrawing cash has declined by as much as 60 to 70%. Previously, we used to see customers withdrawing cash about 2 to 3 times a week, but most of them now prefer to make online payments via our e-banking platform.
With the increasing popularity of cashless payments, even something as simple as a bunch of vegetables can now be paid for by scanning a QR code.
I have been using this QR code for about 3 years now. Scanning a code is much more efficient than paying with cash.
A significant number of customers who visit our store prefer to transfer via online banking. I frequently encounter situations where I don't have sufficient change.
according to state bank statistics. In 2023, non-cash payments reached approximately 11 billion transactions, marking an increase of nearly 50% compared to the previous year, with a total value exceeding $8.2 billion.
Now, immediately after the Prime Minister's official telegram requesting an adequate supply of gasoline, oil and electricity for production, business and consumption during the Lunar New Year and throughout 2024, the Ministry of Industry and Trade coordinated with other relevant ministries, branches and businesses to propose multiple solutions.
In 2024, the supply of petroleum for production and consumption is estimated at over 28 million square meters per ton, an increase of 10% compared to last year. The Ministry of Industry and Trade has allocated total petroleum resources to key enterprises, ensuring compliance with the market situation and production, business, and consumption requirements. Currently, many businesses have secured supply for the whole year 2024.
We have signed long-term contracts with domestic oil refineries and foreign partners and secured approximately 70% to provide to businesses for 2024. In addition, to cope with unexpected situations, we increased the input to nearly 20% compared to the same period in 2023.
Regarding crucial tasks, including operating the power grid and stabilizing the power supply during and after Tet, the National Power System Dispatch Center has prepared plans. It is forecasted that during this Lunar New Year holiday, the national load capacity may decrease to 14,700 megawatts from 17,500 megawatts, which is only two-thirds of normal demand. Therefore, many solutions have been implemented to ensure the national power system's safe operation.
According to our estimates, the load capacity will fall this Tet holiday. The expected electricity output is only about 55 to 60% compared to normal days. We must stop generating units on the system but ensure the power supply and surplus power during this Tet holiday.
During the holidays, petroleum retail points will maintain regular operations. The electricity industry has proactively implemented plans to ensure safe electricity supply and fire and explosion prevention and to be ready to handle unexpected situations.
Coming up next on VTV News. Disadvantaged household celebrates warm Tet for the first time. And let's find out what causes Tet anxiety among Vietnamese youth. Welcome back to VTV News. For thousands of extremely poor households across the country who have lifted themselves out of poverty, this year's Tet holiday has an entirely different feel to it. It is more abundant with their hard-earned wealth and the changing mindset of self-determination and willingness to turn their lives around. Our report is from an extremely impoverished neighborhood ready to change for the better.
Vu Mi Kai, his wife and his children left for the district market at 4 a.m. They used to tour the place as visitors, but returned as merchants this year. For the first time in 10 years of marriage, Vu Thị Pa could shop to her heart's content before the Lunar New Year. She could afford her children's new clothes instead of letting them wear school uniforms all year round. It was hard for them to believe they would have been able to get this far from being almost washed up financially 10 years ago.
We had nothing when we got married. My father-in-law was able to give us a few pigs and chickens. We were barely making ends meet back then.
In the past 2 years, Kai has worked diligently on his cornfield and vegetable garden. He wanted to develop a domestic husbandry model, a far greater goal than being fed and housed. After a thorough discussion, the couple decided to borrow from local budgets for policy beneficiary families to repair their house and build cattle sheds.
My husband has changed for the better. He's hardworking and supportive, making me feel secure about sending my children to school.
Now that his family's financial situation has significantly improved, Guy became the village's role model. He was willing to share insights into how he's lifted his family out of poverty. He showed his fellow villagers that they didn't have to abandon their motherland to pursue wealth elsewhere.
He was indeed very poor just a few years ago. However, he has been hardworking and has done a good job raising his cattle.
I am grateful for the support from the state and the party. I will try harder to create a better life for my family.
Guy and his family have been able to afford better food for their Tet meals thanks to sheer hard work. More and more families will be motivated to do the same.
The Hà Tĩnh Provincial Youth Union and the Vietnam Youth Federation have presented gifts to workers and students in difficult circumstances. The Zero Đồng Buses program was aimed at helping them return to their hometowns to celebrate the Lunar New Year or Tet. The program gave free bus tickets to more than 500 workers and students. The Zero Đồng buses have safely taken the workers and students back to the Kỳ Anh district. The local organizing board also gave gifts worth 500,000 Vietnam dong or $21 to each of the workers and students before they reunited with their families to celebrate Tet. 1,200 households in Phie province will be able to celebrate this year's Tet holiday in completely new homes. These houses demonstrate the collective efforts of local authorities and benefactors for disadvantaged families and those living in temporary accommodation. As a result, 1,200 households in Phie province have improved living conditions. Beneficiaries are grateful for the sentiments, expressing relief that they can achieve greater goals now that their housing problems have been fixed. As Tet approaches, 4th Regional Command ships with Tet gifts have landed in the Trường Sao Island district of Khánh Hòa province. Spring has come to naval personnel and people on the most remote islands of Vietnam. In the middle of the vast ocean, locals and the military welcome Tet early with joy, the warmth of camaraderie, and the love between naval staff and locals.
These days, the archipelago's communes and towns are buzzing with a Tet atmosphere. Naval Command on West Reef Island organized a chung cake wrapping contest for their personnel and local households. On Truong Sa Island, the joy comes early with zone leaves and sticky rice.
I feel very excited to celebrate Tet away from home. I'm excited to make chung cakes with my comrades. A joyful atmosphere can be felt everywhere.
Not only do they help people fix up their houses to celebrate Tet, but the commanders and ranks also visit local people, encourage them, exchange well wishes, and present gifts.
The island soldiers and commanders take care of us. They've come to every family to offer wishes for a happy new year. They gave us gifts. It was fun.
We welcome Tet as one, as we are members of an extended family. This is the most important thing we aim for in this Tet holiday.
Interesting cultural activities have been held on the islands, bringing joy and excitement to those guarding our homeland's peace.
I feel honored and proud to keep the peace on the front lines of the fatherland so that our people can safely celebrate Tet.
A traditional Tet is filled with joyful moments. It kickstarts a new year for the Truong Sa Archipelago's community and military. Let the joys of remote islands blend with the joy of welcoming the spring for us all.
Tet has always been an opportunity to reunite with family after a hectic and difficult year. However, for today's youth, Tet is filled with anxiety and pressure. This is when social and familial expectations of marriage, salary, and so on set in, causing young people to seek an escape from this special holiday.
As Tet approaches, this young woman has finished preparing for her trekking trip. Traveling during the holiday helps her avoid big celebration meals, piles of dishes, and a series of awkward questions.
How much was your salary last year? Do you have a boyfriend yet? When will you get married? These are all very personal questions, and the ones who ask them are seniors in the family. So, if I answer truthfully, they would not be satisfied.
Economic pressure from shopping, lucky money, and expensive travel costs are also why some young people fear Tet.
In the months leading up to Tet, expenditure will be double or even triple the normal amount. I get a Tet bonus at the end of the year, but after all the shopping, I always run out of money.
I will work through Tet this year because the salary paid for Tet shifts is triple the normal rate. Tuition fees and travel costs are also pricey. Although the Lunar New Year only comes once, I can't return home because money is tight.
Some say young people are no longer interested in Tet or appreciate traditional values. But in reality, the fear of expectations dulled their excitement for Tet.
The youth is afraid of Tet because of the constant questions about marriage, childbirth, and careers that they do not yet have an answer to. I believe that many generations of Vietnamese youth will still celebrate Tet and maintain traditions in their own way.
The most special days are the 30th, the 1st and the 2nd, so I'll spend them with my family and then travel later to reward myself.
I will try to earn more money next year to buy Tet gifts for my family and friends. I will also do a little shopping for myself.
I will get a long break from school after Tet. So, I will stay for Tet and spend more time with my family afterwards.
The days leading to Tet can be stressful, but this holiday will always be special to every generation of Vietnamese. Tet is when everyone can put aside the generational gap and give love to welcome a peaceful beginning with loved ones.
Coming up next in our world news. UN chief taps panel to probe UNRWA after Israeli allegations. And Eurozone investor confidence improves. Now moving on to our world news. The United Nations, or UN, announced on Monday it appointed an independent panel to assess the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, or UNRWA, following allegations that some staffers were involved in Hamas' October 7 attacks in southern Israel. The decision was made at the emergency special session on the Israel-Gaza conflict convened by the United Nations Security Council. In a statement, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres announced that he had appointed an independent group to assess whether the agency is doing everything within its power to ensure neutrality and to respond to allegations of serious breaches when they are met. Since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict last October, more than 27,000 Palestinians have been killed and 71,000 have been wounded. According to a survey of 1,300 investors published by Centix, investor confidence in the Eurozone was strengthened for the fourth consecutive month in February to its highest level since April. The Centix Investor Confidence Index advanced to 12.9 in February from 15.8 in January, reflecting improved investor sentiment. The expectations index rose to 5.5 points in February from 8.8 points in January, a fifth consecutive month of improvement and the highest value since February 2023. At least 20 people have died after days of torrential rains in parts of southern Philippines, Provincial Disaster Agency said on Monday. 13 people died in Davao del Oro province, while 2 were missing, and 7 people were killed in neighboring Davao del Norte. A northeasterly monsoon and a drought of a low pressure area brought heavy rains to the southern Mindanao region from January 28 to February 2nd, resulting in deadly floods and landslides. According to data from the National Disaster Agency, more than 812,000 were affected, and of which around 85,000 people took shelter in evacuation centers. A team of creators from Japan has teamed up on a new collection of immersive artworks that promise to impact all visitors' senses, including touch, sound, and smell. Named Team Lab Borderless, the renowned digital art museum will reopen its doors in Tokyo this year. More to follow.
A wall resembling a shining stream bursts into 1,000 threads. A sea of dangling globes levitates in the air, turning from gold to blue to purple. Hundreds of butterflies dart around an immersive screen of tiny water particles. This is not a modern art museum, but the latest creation of Team Lab, Japan's popular collective of engineers, artists, and architects.
Wherever people stand, the light bomb closest to them lights up, and they are placed in a setting that always looks beautiful. I want to make this Team Lab borderless, where people can feel and experience the beauty of continuity. In that sense, this artwork showcases the beauty of continuous lighting rather than the beauty of placement.
Many of the artworks respond to visitors' touch. From digital butterflies taking flight upon contact to threads of lights following the movement of visitors, the museum offers a dynamic and engaging experience.
Everything exists in continuity. I wanted to create something that would allow people to recognize that this world is a continuum, and they can find beauty in continuity itself.
Since its inauguration in 2018, Team Lab Borderless has become a global sensation, attracting 2.3 million visitors from over 160 countries and regions within a year. The museum received a certificate from the Guinness World Records in 2019, earning recognition as the most visited museum dedicated to a single group or artist worldwide.
Now, before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's all we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.